All right, next we're going to bring up Mike Weiksner, and he's going to be talking about games and greater blockchain adoption. So he's got a presentation. He's got, um, let's see, we've got 10 minutes for you. So, Mike, do you want to come on stage and add a stream? Here we go.
All right. Hey, Ken.
Hey, howdy. Thanks for joining us. And you're going to talk about games and bringing games and tokens to the metaverse. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, we're at an interesting moment. The video game industry, it knows that blockchain is the future, and blockchain knows video games, are the future, but the connection hasn't fully been made. So today, I want to start with a question. Is the digital future something that happens to us, or is it something that we create? So yeah, hi everyone. I'm Mike Weiksner, CEO of Pocketful of Quarters, or PEQ. I'm sure most of the people here have heard of StepN and Axie Infinity. Some of you, probably a smaller number, has actually played some of them. They're the darlings of blockchain games. However, if you break them down and play them, what you see is that fundamentally what they are tokens that you can make money on because new people are coming in to buy those tokens. So they've grown a lot of interest in blockchain gaming, but they're not really sustainable. StepN, I saw a tweet, I like this. StepN, and I'm actually indirectly an investor in StepN. It's literally a Ponzi scheme with extra steps. These games aren't really fun. Games are supposed to be fun and safe. But instead, these current blockchain games involve risky speculation, and they're not even really interoperable, which is, I contend, is the main advantage of blockchain for games. So they really aren't the kind of games that gamers are looking for. What really are kids looking for? I got to figure out how to advance the slide here. Oh, there we go. Meet George. George is my son. He's also my co-founder. He came up with the idea for Quarters. When he was 11 years old, he had a problem. He wanted to switch from Madden to Fortnite. And he asked the question, why do I have to lose all my time, effort, and coins when I switch from one game to the next? Why can't it work like an arcade where I can use one token in any game I want? I didn't have a good answer for him, so I took him to one of the first Crypto Monday meetups. And Luke Kerner, the organizer, identified him and filmed a video, put it on YouTube, and it went outrageously viral. Within a couple of days, he was on morning TV shows. For as decades as an investor and startup founder, I've never seen some entrepreneur's problem resonate so much. And then from that, went on, and Tim Draper reached out and invested, and George was invited to be a keynote speaker at WyoHack a couple times alongside folks like Joe Lubin and Caitlin Long, and we're really off to the races. But the thing that was, I think, most striking is how George's idea has attracted some of the best in both blockchain and video games. In fact, we've got, I would contend, the best BD team in video games on our team. It's led by Tim Tello, and working with him are some of the biggest gaming legends like Mark Kaplan, who was 25 years SVP of licensing at Sony, sometimes called the godfather of licensing for acquiring the entire Spider-Man rights for Sony. And Chris Cross, who was a legendary game designer, designed Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, the original Call of Duties. He was the head of studio at DreamWorks and THQ. And when he heard George's problem, it resonated with him because he identified the same problem in the industry. It had become anti-player. In particular, why are there millions of games and each one has its own currency? Why is breakage, making people lose stuff when they switch, why is that at heart the business model of video games? And he had struggled with this prior to seeing the video at Nexon, where he convinced the Nexon to brand all of their premium currencies NX coins. But in MapleStory 1, the NX coin could not be used in MapleStory 2. Why? Well, first, they couldn't even figure out how to technically enable somebody to bring their coin from one game to the next. And they didn't bother trying because they also didn't know how would they do the transfer pricing for the CEO of one game and another game if a token was bought in one game and used in another game. And that's precisely the problem that George had and that we're solving with Quarters. So what players really want is fun. So we're partnered with some of the biggest brands in games: Discord, Epic, Google, and Apple. I'm most proud of our Unity partnership. We're the first and only verified partner for blockchain. We make it really simple for millions of game developers to get on the blockchain with just a couple of clicks. And also excited, we're working with the best in the blockchain and then layer ones. Shown here are the ecosystem funds. I mean, interoperability is going to be powered. Interoperability is the thing that players want, but what entices the games to come is all of this energy. And shown here are the ecosystem funds of some of the major layer ones that are out there. We're basically working with all of them. We're partnering with Clayton, working with Binance. Actually, Polygon was a spin out from us. JD Kanani was our first engineer, and he saw how many transactions we were doing and how costly it was on Ethereum, partly inspired him to start Polygon. And we're sort of placed in an even broader ecosystem. So there's the 6 billion from these little villages and things, which are the various blockchains. I think we're going to have to update this to have Terra Luna falling into the water. You've got the islands and OpenSea, Ethereum and Polygon and Clayton and now Solana. The first three are all connected to each other with bridges. You've got Poor Flow on the other side all by itself. You've got the secret caves of Oasis and Secret, and you've got the Professor Village of Avalanche and Algorand. So there's $22 billion, all told, mostly in mega funds like Anderson Horowitz, and then in a lot of micro funds that are focused on DeFi, NFTs, and the metaverse. And as I was saying, we're working with many of the biggest ones. We believe in a multi-chain future, but our technology makes it so that it's completely opaque and the players and developers don't have to worry about it. Very easy to pick what chains they want to be on and have their tokens interoperate, even if they're on different chains. A key element is, so you've got money and you got games, but you need players. So we have the largest network of Twitch streamers, over 500 creators signed in our network who are playing games that use Quarters, including some of the most popular games shown here. We reach over 10 million people. We've got 2 million registered users, and we can black out Twitch when we launch new games with Quarters. Safe. The final piece here is we spent a year and a half fighting the dragon in the labyrinth, and we emerged victorious. We got the first and only SEC no action letter. It's clearing the way for us to sell Quarters as a consumer product and not a security. It's kind of an obvious thing, but this is really, really valuable that the SEC has acknowledged that an Arcade token, whether it's on the blockchain or not, is still a consumer product. And that helps us address one of the biggest barriers in the video game industry, which is being pure-driven snow, so that they know it's safe to work with this kind of token. And we have a second token. We've got Quarters, which is this product, but we also have a metaverse token, a cryptocurrency. And we're very excited because it's taken 4 years for us to launch this because of this commitment to being pure-driven snow. We solved the Gordian knot. We have a self-whitelisting technology. We use just your phone in order to prove your geography, so we can exclude U.S. investors, at least at the start. The token is super interesting. It basically extends my son George's mission. His mission is to make video games better for players, but this is a governance token that really invites everyone to participate in creating the future of our digital life. I was last week in Davos, and I met an industrial minister for Denmark, a truly serious person. And he asked me, I dismiss crypto. How can it solve problems like global warming and the war in Ukraine and immigration? And I think that those are problems created by government. But what's really amazing is we have a greenfield opportunity to make the metaverse the way that we want it. Now, if you look in a dark mirror, you might see a dystopia like Snow Crash or Ready Player One. A few oligarchs deciding about making the metaverse designed to serve their interests. But I believe the future belongs to us. And the cryptocurrency, the Q2s, provide the tools for players and creators to make the digital life that we want. It's something that we can create with our minds and our actions. So I invite you to join the Quarters DAO to contribute, and I hope that you can participate. We're at a moment people are going to spend more time in front of screens than not in the next year or so. This is critically important. I hope you'll join us.
We'll get a little bit of time for some questions. I guess just so tell us a little bit about, you said the deals. So what kind of deals, what are some of the licensing aspects that you're sort of seeing these days?
So we started off with small games. Gaming industry is interesting. First of all, it's 70, 80, 90% of all of entertainment dollars are really spent on video games. So it's huge. So little tiny games actually can be bigger than the mega franchises that you watch in film and video. So we've got a bunch of those. One I'll highlight called Stream Arenas, where it's a really cool game that you can play in the stream on Twitch while you're watching it. And the transactions, you can kill. If I put a bounty on your head, go kill you, you can get 4 1/4 plus an NFT trophy, all while you're just on Twitch chatting. And it's just like a good highlight of like the kind of new things that you can do, on the blockchain and integrating with Web 2. But there's unannounced AAA stuff, like literally the biggest IP that you could imagine. We haven't announced it yet, so I can't talk about it. But I really think that the early adopters, the 2%, it's here, and from big to little, you're going to see things, and they're going to launch this year because video games. You can take stuff that's off the shelf and repurpose it and launch it. So this isn't like a 5-year thing to create a new thing. It's going to happen this calendar year.
Well, that brings to mind the budgets. Some of the other people in another panel were talking that it's really hard to compete against Web 2 games because you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars for budgets.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of what you think. You seem to have a different view of that, where you think there can be breakthrough games on smaller budgets, but also that there's other budgets bigger in this space.
But both, yes, it is both. But the thing that's different is you can reskin and relaunch a game that has $100 million already invested in it in the next 3 months. So you don't need to start from scratch. And that's why there's literally hundreds and hundreds of man years put into Unity as an engine that is available to people on the assets that are available. So you don't and the competition really comes from how do you tap into that? Well, it's the linking technology that we have to make it super easy for those games to launch on Web3, as opposed to building a new Web3 game from scratch.
Okay. Do you want to talk about distribution and marketing and how games can get noticed? What you may bring to the table there?
Yeah, it's the streamers. So, the metaverse, what's abundant, what's scarce gets flipped. You don't want to charge for artificial scarcity. You want to charge for real scarcity. Real scarcity is social relationships. We're spending, sad that we didn't have the physical face-to-face meeting, but we're still spending time together right now. And that's the scarce resource. And so that's how we market games. And that's also what's missing in the marketplace. People should have disposable, quick and easy multiplayer mobile games that they can come in and out. It doesn't have to be a blockbuster budget like you've got with the multiplayer, the small number of games that are out there that are multiplayer. And that's going to happen because you'll be able to see with your friends and streamers, if you have the same currency, you'll just be able to flit in and out of games like you do with the casual one player games that are out today.
Okay, great. So give us in the next year, next year or 2 years, what does it look like for the gaming world?
I'll go a little farther. I'll go 5 years, just because I've said a little bit about what we're doing in the current. I think the thing that people are just not taking seriously enough is that consumption in the metaverse is going to be multiples bigger than the real world. And so this is truly like tens of trillions of dollars of opportunity. And I'll give a crazy example. Like, imagine sometime in the near future, a digital beer is going to be better than a real beer. And When that happens, we're going to choose to spend our time drinking those digital beers together, and we'll spend much more time doing that. Now, it's non-rivalrous because we'll drink as much regular beer as we used to. It's just we're going to choose to do more things in the metaverse. And so I think in 5 years, it's not that Amazon and what is going to be disrupted by the metaverse. It's just going to be less relevant because we'll be buying such a higher volume of goods that we care as much as the physical goods that come to us in the metaverse.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate breaking this down for us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.